Welcome online, welcome in the room. I'm Rich, and we're going to talk about Power Automate document creation and digital signing. And Benji, you can hear me at the back. Awesome, sweet. I'll do the usual, this is me slide, and then we'll talk about what we're going to actually talk about. So that's me. I do Power Apps and Power Automate, Canvas apps, been in it for a while. Microsoft MVP for the business apps area, was a Power Platform champion. It's a Microsoft program, been in that for a while. Help run the local user groups with Steve for 365 and for the Power Platform for Christchurch. So happy to answer questions and help you out as much as you need. And then, like all of you on the line and in the room, just trying to keep your head above water and keep up with the changes that keep coming through, never-ending change of what's happening in the online cloud space for apps and workflows. So we're going to talk about document creation and electronic signatures. I'm not talking about approvals or anything like that today. It's more about signatures in the creation of the files. We can do approvals at another time to talk about teams, but I think we've talked that one's hopefully. Well, you can tell me if you've got questions on it, but it's reasonably well known. But we'll go through what they are roughly. In my head, you can have a different opinion. It's completely fine. Now, why is it important? And then using third-party connections, because if you're going to get into signing, it's much easier to use a third-party connection than try and make your own, unless you're like with code, and I'm not. So that's okay. Full disclosure. And then we'll go through a review of some of the document creation options, talk about those, document merging and document signing. Has anyone done dynamic document electronic signatures with Power Automate, merging files with Power Automate, that sort of stuff? I'm not doing the merging sign files yet, but we can actually do that as a follow-up step at the end of some of the workflows with Adobe and stuff. But yeah, just yeah. So we'll cover off those bits. So hopefully it's all new and exciting. You'll learn something. It's all about Power Automate. I have a couple of examples. I'm using SharePoint as my data source. A pretend Power app, which doesn't actually work, but it looks like this could be an app that you could put some information into, and then that could create something that then you could go and turn into a document. Right? Okay, let's start with that. So document creation, to me, what's in Power Automate for this session doesn't have to be. You can do it in other tools, but today we're talking about this app stuff. What's that? Dynamic, right? So you're going to take a document template. It's going to have some space in it. You can inject your content into those documents. Could be a Word doc, could be a PDF, could be HTML. There's a few different ways to do that. Then, if you're using a template, or even if you're using HTML, you're going to want to build stuff around it to make it all fit. There's limitations with both methods. Cost implications on both. So it's just, but you're just going to get a single file out of this. This is just straight, I'm going to make something from some form input. Useful for people that like to see reports, like to see a shape of a file that they can hold or print. People still print, or if I can see it on screen, read it better than a form that could be across multiple pages. I can get like a summary. We do a few document exports to PDF for businesses where it's a multi-stage form and they just need to see a summary sheet because they don't know, navigate around, and just show me on screen and I can just read it and I can make a decision. Right? So it's that. And then also for signing, you're going to want to have a document to look at. What I'll do is I'll just jump out of this and I'll show you the file we're going to try and use for our model. So stolen from the Plum Cell model. If you go there, you'll see it. We'll change the logo and some of the other stuff. But basically, it's a document. You could make this in HTML if you wanted to. Probably couldn't get it signed using HTML stuff, but not without a lot of effort. But there's markup on it, right? So that's your document template. And there's different ways depending on the tool you use for different markups. So that's what we're going to try and create. That's what we're going to get input data into, and then we're going to get it signed. Right, that's our goal for this session. Go back to the rest of this. Just jump out of that. So then we've got done document creation, so that's making the file, and then we've got merging document conversion. So conversion and creation are almost the same thing, but there's this thing I'm going to show you in a few minutes where you need to know that they've tagged different Power Automate applications to either creation or conversion. It's just like document creation conversion, but you may already have a file as a HTML and you go turn it into a PDF. So OneDrive does that, right? The OneDrive connector, I can turn it into PDF. Or I can use any other tools and just move from one to the other. So that's conversion, but also some of the Power Automate tools out there tag themselves as document conversion, but they're actually the same as creation. So when you go looking for stuff to figure out which of the tools I'm going to use, then that's a key thing to know. But yeah, we're just basically going to take it, inject it, existing file, turn it into another file type. Kind of just like it's a form, and I turn it into a document. That's probably why they say it's conversion. But that's yeah, just a thing to know for Power Automate. And then that moved. No, that moved. Signing again with Power Automate. We are going to work on a model where notifications are sent either by email or text or something. Generally by email. If you're using a third-party connection, if they're integrated with Teams, you might get a Teams pop-up, which would then take you into the different application that the people that this third-party provider is going to give you. But generally, it's going to send you something. You're going to then click on that something. You're going to go into a secure portal to make your signature, right? So I'm not going into a SharePoint library and I'm writing my name on it, or I'm not opening Adobe and I'm right-clicking and saying sign yourself, because you can do that too, but it's not quite the same as here's a valid signature that then we can. But you know, when you go to the bank and they ask you to sign stuff, that's the level we're aiming at. You get a link, go into it, you see all the bits you got to tick, and then you sign, right? Ideally, you want to be able to be pointed in the right direction to where to sign, not make your own mind about where you need to sign. So some of the signing tools in Power Automate don't necessarily tell you where to sign. And you don't know where your signature is going to be. The better ones do that. So Adobe and DocuSign will put you in the right spot. Others not so much. And it's all legal. It's a legally recognized method. Pretty sure that ticking an approval in Teams also could be considered a legal method of approving, because you can show who the person was, but sometimes you need a physical signature on a document electronically to show this is the thing, depending on the governance rules you've got in place. They all making sense? All right, so using third-party connectors. You can see I used the wrong thing, didn't it? So it's off. Just slightly off. I have to send that back. You need to know what you're defining, whether you're doing document creation or signing. Hang on, that's the same slide. Let's just go straight past that. That was supposed to say about using third-party connectors, and it's looking like Q&A and a bit of my that. This is why I was making my presentation a few minutes ago, which is what you can see here. We've got the wrong things, but I'll just wing it and I'll tell you what third-party connections are. So third-party, so Microsoft Power Automate's got 400 plus different connections that you can use, take advantage of to speed up the work you do, right? So slow code. You get a connection. With a third-party connection, you're going to want to authenticate. You're probably going to need an account with the people that you're having that connection with. So if it's Adobe, you'll have an Adobe account, do a trial or a paid account. When you normally connect to OneDrive, SharePoint, it's using your login credentials to make that connection. So there's a whole plethora of them that you're going to need to do. Depending on the connection, the document signing or document merging, they may give you an API key that you then put into when you're creating the document connection, what it looks like. Because then it authenticates you against that. If you ever used Encodian, they ask you for an API key. Plum Cells the same, you'll get that. And you can move with that and through. So third-party connections are generally going to cost you something. So whenever you get one, you're going to need to know, why am I paying for it? What's the benefit to me or my business? And then compare that against, if we didn't have that, what would it cost us to do the same thing differently, right? So if I was to show you this, get off that slide into this slide, this is what I did do earlier, which is better. According to DocuSign, it's 15 minutes or less to complete all the agreements that go out there, right? So when you're doing electronic signatures, you can just whack it in, or creating a document, reduce it down to 15 minutes. Apparently that's $36 saved per document on average by doing some dynamic conversion with it or some signatures with it. So then the cost of a regular DocuSign license or a Adobe license is significantly similar to $36 per user. So if that's one file and you've got an account where you're doing hundreds and hundreds of files that need signing, so the new user system that Steve spoke about earlier, if people need to sign that costs someone time to create the file, send it out, get on the site, they send it back. So it's just cost. I can see now where my third-party connector slide is going to come up again, and I can see if I actually spoke about what I was going to talk about, but I can see it coming. This is great. But I guess it's business cases, right? So does using Adobe or DocuSign save me more than $36 a month or more than the license, right? It gets scary to finance for the people that are owning the system, paying the bills on the system when you want 100 people to do it, and that becomes a monthly cost. So that's when, do all those people, and do you need 100 accounts to do document signatures? You probably don't, right? But it's a small team that's going to be in charge of it. So it's like audit team or HR or some group or lawyers in your business. And so are they getting the benefit? Because not everyone needs it. And so you can use it then. So you don't need to license everybody, but some licenses will help. That's my pitch. There's third-party connectors. Let's talk about third-party connectors. So they look like that. When you go off, and if you start typing document up the top, you get those ones back. But that doesn't tell me much about which are the right ones to use. What do they actually do? And so I need to click into it. You can see all of a premium. So Plumsell, but it is actually, you do need it. You can use it, but you need a paid account. So it's in Power Automate, you can just connect to it, but to actually make use of it, you need to pay for it to Plumsell, right? So when it says premium, you're going to need to have a Power Automate premium license to use it as well as paid for service at the other end. But yeah, so that's recently added, but you can keep scrolling down, and it's just working off that and something in the metadata. But these are all licensed connections that they've done enough to show Microsoft that they're legitimate and they'll do what you want, right? When you click on one inside of Power Automate, when you're working through it, you can do the same search again, and then you can add it. You'll see everything that is available to you, even if you haven't actually made a connection to it yet. By clicking on it, it will tell you straight away if you've got an active connection or not. If you don't, it'll ask you to create one or add in your API details. And then if you don't have an API key or anything like that, if it's encoding, you're going to have to go to their website and then get the API key and then put it in. So just so you know. But yeah, you'll see them, and you're clicking on any of those if you need a Power Automate. Clicking on any of the top level items allows you to see in the triggers and actions section underneath that the different activities that you can use. Or you can go into on the right hand side of the screen. If we were to click into the little I information icon under the see more column under actions, that will present to you the different activities that connection can provide to you. And then clicking into the blue text will give you the kind of the code. But it's very written by Microsoft developers to read, minimal content, and so limited use of like tutorials or examples on the Learn site. It's just basically straight. These are the connectors. That's what they do, and then it relies on the third-party connection people to provide a bit more information. So they often do that on their own websites, and they have their own tutorials that you can then follow. But straight up Microsoft Learn, go to it if you just want to check, am I putting in the right values into the right sections of this connector? If I actually want to learn how to use it, go to the connector or that party provider's website. Okay. There you go. I already said most of that, which is cool. There's Plumsell forms. I was to use that. I need to sign in, then provide my credentials against it, right? Key thing there is for all credentials, if we're going to be using a system where many people might use it, or I may only be in the company for a short period, then I want to make sure that I'm not licensing or connecting against my own user account. I should have a service type account that's also licensed that I can use as part of my role. And then if I was to leave my role, then the next person would come in and take on that credential, right, and use it so everything stays. So you can adjust that with the Power Automate Admin Center in time as well. But sometimes it takes a month for people to realize that that person's left. Oh, yeah, they have that connection. That's right. That's why things have stopped working. So that's useful to know. Also, if you're using one service account for many activities, be aware of the licensing implications that might have. So Microsoft doesn't like it if you're doing it for their connectors, but some of these connectors, I could use one service account for Plumsell, they'd be fine because they run on like a usage amount. So we've got lots we're using it, it's 1,000 runs, and they charge like a logic app against that amount, right? So I've got a bucket or a scalable amount, and they'll just charge me more, as opposed to I'm only paying $15 and we've got 1,000 people using it and we're all just getting it for $15. That's when people get a bit weird about that's against the rules, which is fine. So just be aware of that. Make sure you've got your covered, so you can read the documentation about it and make sure you're not crossing any boundaries there. You do kind of get what you pay for. I'm going to talk about DocuSign in a minute, and that's one where I'm not sure you get what you pay for with that, but you do with Adobe. I'm not sponsored by either, but that's just my experience of trying to use both applications to make documents. I will say DocuSign are getting better, and we've contacted them directly to make sure we're getting the right information back. There's just another level of a sales price to get the connection that they allow you to make the documents with. So that's one. It's like an enterprise level, but then Enterprise Plus to do the bit that everybody else does as part of the standard. So it's kind of not quite the same. And then business cases, yeah, if you need it, $36 for a document, that's one document, right? That's done. But you only do one a month that's covered by license, potentially, because of the labor saving. But with all that, Plumsale, Adobe, which one do I use, right? So I found my picture of someone looking confused. Which one to use? So does everybody have a place they go to figure out which of the connections are the best ones, which ones have been reviewed by end users? Do I know about that? Cool, great. If you take away one thing from today's session, it'll be this place to go to. So connectorreview.com, which has been created by CRM Heidi. It's neutral. All your connectors in Power Automate are on there, and you can search by each. The link's still on there. But basically, you can click into an item, get its review rating. The pub or users can rate every connection and provide information about it, and it'll give you information about what it does. Link to the documentation on Microsoft and the provider's website. So a real good place to go and look and say, oh, actually, these are all things that I should check out because I'm interested in document signing, or which ones are good for me, versus typing document into, if you type document signing, you don't get hardly any results. I don't think if you do it in Power Automate. It's like, and then you go sign, you get loads and not sure which one's which. So they've got this menu down the left, which is why I was talking earlier about document generation and document conversion. So there are two different tags, but find the one you want, and that will give you the filtered view of all of the current licensed connectors that you can make use of if you need them, right? So click into each, figure out what they are. Some of them you would never have heard of, but they're all rated and reviewed. And off the peeps that made this, they've got a few YouTube clips as well where they do a full comparison of different types of connections, and you kind of have a big grid with ticks and crosses about what each person does, which is really awesome. So 31 connectors do document signing, 10 do merging. Anybody used any of these? You can stay on the call if you do it. Yes.
I've used the Adobe one.
Yep, cool.
Just
Me too.
their the free
Oh yeah. Yep.
500 actions or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. So DocuSign and Adobe both have a free offering where you can test out their applications, although the DocuSign one's free offering doesn't give you everything you want to give you. But they're working on that because they've been recently changing. Okay, 2 years ago, Adobe didn't even have the ability to inject into a template. It was just signing, but now they do. So they're all getting better. So that's there. And if we go to creation and conversion, then you've got a few different ones, right? So again, PDF services, they've got Word Online there for the document creation, which we'll talk about as well. And Encodian sits over in the document conversion area as well, where you can make files with it too. So that's that. So my advice, you've got a requirement to make documents or to use anything in the connections. You've got to use Power Automate, and you're like, oh, well, what are we trying to achieve? Power Automate. Go to that site, go down the left-hand side. It's got all the tags of anything that can happen. Find the different connections, have a look at them, check out what they do. Then you'll be a little bit more aware of what's out there, because the recommendation is just know what you're trying to do. Pick one that actually, pick a connector that does it. Lots of connectors have loads and loads of actions. You might need one action for that particular one, but you need to make sure you've got the right action before you invest and recommend to the business, like, let's do it all. But yeah, really do, and ask us, ask the consultants out there, ask the community. None of us are sponsored by any of these connections, so we'll give you the advice, tell you what's good, tell you what's bad. Michael's like that, Eugene's like that, Steve's like that. Pretty sure Sarah and Ashley and Divya are as well. We'll just be nice and honest. Give the feedback. And if we don't know, we'll find out, right? Come back to it, because we've got lots of people that use these tools and we've seen a lot more than you guys might. All right, cool. Any questions on any of that? Was that a useful resource? Can I stop talking now? Tick, we've got it. Everyone's achieved something.
I'm always terrified of third-party connectors because I don't know.
Yeah.
If they're reliable. So that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, cool. The other advice with third-party connectors, like I said earlier, so maybe not DocuSign, but yeah, if you're paying for it, they've invested all the time and effort into understanding what users are going to need. So they've built stuff around it, and they would have had to go through the licensing rules with Microsoft to make it work. Some of them give you the free service. Then there's enough scale up to just know what's going. So Encodian is really good. Gives you 50 free runs. You can use it for document merging, but then you've got to figure out if I'm going to use that and I go over my 50, which some people do. What do I do then, right? Because it stops working. So you have to have another method if you're going to just use that unlicensed or using the free tier. All right. So there you go. My disclaimer on documents. So there's 31. I'm going to talk about 3, 4 for this session rather than all 31, because I don't know all the 31 because half of them were new to me too. But I do know the key ones that I use all the time, and I can talk to you about what we do and what we use them for. They've all got pluses and minuses, right? For all of it. That's the image I showed you earlier about the Burdes file we're going to try and create. I am actually talking about 3 for this particular one, sorry, document generation. So we'll try and inject a file that looks with Word and with Adobe. We'll do that. I can talk about the OneDrive method as well. You can do it. It's going to take you a lot more effort, but it's possible. Okay, so we're doing Adobe PDF services, Word Online, and then OneDrive and HTML. A little bit more expensive with PDF services, but you get a lot more to it than there's 2 actions on Microsoft Word Online. There's about 20 on PDF services. And then OneDrive and HTML is free because you've got OneDrives and you've got HTML using the compose action and Power Automate. But you have to code everything yourself. There's a question.
So my personal question.
Woo!
Is that just for the license, or is that to use the software as well?
Which piece?
So that 15 per month for Word Online.
Yeah.
Is that the Power Automate Premium connector, or is that just?
Power Automate Premium connector to cover that, because Word Online is covered within your Microsoft stack of licensing anyway, right? So it's just you need a premium connector to talk to, like a per user in Power Automate, which are still available, but they're just not shown on the list of options. You can go into your Office 365 Admin Center and find those less than known ones, although they may phase out eventually, depending on what Microsoft does.
I'm lost with it. The $15 is for a Power Automate Premium license,
Yeah.
or a Power Apps. Power Apps Premium, and that was triggered from within Power Apps.
Yeah, so good question. So the question there for everyone is like Power Automate premium license or a Power Apps premium license. So Power Automate premium license, I can use from any trigger in Power Automate to use that one. If I have a Power Apps premium license, I can call premium services in Power Automate, but I have to call them from a Power Apps trigger. So something has to happen in an app to make it run. So if I want to do like scheduled workflows and reminders, then I'm going to need a Power Automate one. If I'm just waiting for a user to push a button, waiting for a user to push a button in a Power App means that user has to be licensed because it's running as that user. Whereas Power Automate license can run and look at a whole library that they made, that the account's not made those files, but it's surfacing data on all those files and taking action based on what it finds. So yeah, it's one or the other, but you can use both and get the, but then we've had a Power Apps per user license, so the $37 one, whatever it was, but that still would be failing on Power Automate actions because we're calling it different licensing SKUs. So if you just think about what you're trying to create, which license model helps with.
But that $15 is a Power Automate license.
Yeah. So if I called it from a Power App, so I push a button on a Power App, say make me a Word Online document, the licensed user that pushes it is going to need to be a Power Apps license holder, or so that could be 100 people. maybe, or I can have Power Automate and it's just running on a schedule. So depends on how urgent that document is to be made into a PDF document or into a Word document. Can it run on a schedule or does it need to be real time? If it's real time, then I've got to pay more for licensing if there's more value to that, to Microsoft. That makes sense?
I'll have to talk to you another time, but X premium and flows that are triggered from within a direct model from that work.
Yeah, they're okay. Those ones are okay as long as it's triggered by the app. Yeah. If I've got 100 users and we're all taking actions on a SharePoint or Power form, but only 5 of them need to worry about export. So I might have a time sheeting application, and then finance have access to an area of that time sheeting app where they can see a button that says "Give me an export" into Word. But then in the app, because that button exists in the app, every user that goes into the app's going to need to be licensed to even just to open the app, as opposed to there's no granular level of like, if you push that button, you need to be licensed. It's just this button exists in the app, so you all need to be licensed. If that makes sense. But if they're all licensed already, which sounds like they are, then they're all good. Cool. That'll help me get to my 50 minutes because I'm answering questions. Good. All right. Okay. So for OneDrive and HTML, what you'll do with that is you'll use compose. You'll take the form data and you'll use a compose action within Power Automate, which is a lilac-y color action, and you'll write your own HTML. I'll just go through the slides on that, and then you basically, if you need tabular data, you can have a form and you can kind of make a table and then put rows of data into your compose action. Then if I need to go and look up another data source, I might need to build an array and put that underneath it and have an array of info and then another section. So there's a lot more work needed to build your own OneDrive HTML section and merge it all together, as opposed to these guys, you're paying for something because it makes your life a little bit easier, right? So yes, it's fine to code your own stuff, but sometimes it's a lot easier to do that because you don't enjoy coding much. Then you just get on with it, get the job done, right? Tick the box for the business, done. So Adobe, really simple. They do have in Word, there's an add-in that you can put in, which allows you to create the different sections you might want. You can do lots of conditional controls in the Word tool as well, but generally, 2 squiggles either side of the bit of Word, that's going to be picked up by Adobe. It's going to know that's what you want. And it's going to, whatever you put inside that is the name of the control that will be surfaced. And so it'll be looking for that when you're trying to put information into that via Power Automate. So that's the add-in. There's lots of tools online they've got in there in the Adobe website where you can look at the examples of other documents that are made, but that's that one. You do need to know a little bit about JSON. So those squiggle brackets where it says control name will be the same as author and date value and company. In this one, we can see company has also got another squiggle inside it. You probably can't see it from back there, but that's like a table inside my PDF document, whereas the top 2 are just straight files, like just straight, that's one-to-one reference, and that could be a one company to many sub rows under it. But yeah, as long as you know that, then you're all good with Adobe. Within Word, you need to enable the developer tab, and then get all excited when you turn on the developer tab and you see all these different active controls that you could use, but you can't use them. Power Automate. You can use them in a normal Word document, but in Power Automate, it's really only going to talk to repeating sections and plain text controls. There's been lots and lots of asks for this for 5 or more years, right? So can we have images? Can we have rich text control? Just can you?
You can put them in a repeating section. You can get them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Point taken. We can do that. I have as well. I did try and do an image in a repeating section. I was just like through my toys. Yeah. If you're trying to put an image and you're using that OneDrive piece, if you want an image in your document, you're going to have to encode that to 64 bits to make sure if it's staying in SharePoint, because your workflow may not be talking to SharePoint as it runs. So it needs to know what the image actually is to make itself run. Otherwise, it's going to say, I can't find the file, so no image shows up. But yeah, thanks. So you can do images. We'll put that one there, little thingy, but not in a repeating section. Yeah, not all controls. Right, sweet. The other parts to talk about with document conversion using OneDrive would be you're going to hand roll it, encode the images, can support tables, nothing rich text. If you like if you've got a rich text control coming with bullet points and stuff from a Power App, from like an HTML rich text input, it's not going to come through in your app. And if you want to lay stuff out, you've got to kind of figure out how you make your document look reasonably pretty in Word. It's only going to be portrait. You can't do it like a landscape PDF, which sucks sometimes for output. And again, some of the styling around it, you can put color sections into the tables if you're using tables, but you're trying to have half a table here and half a table there. And basically, all you're going to be using is a table rather than CSS-based divs to make that work. Content running over pages, that's like when you used to print from the web back in the day and you'd have an image that would stop halfway down through the one page and then come out on the other page. So it's like that with tables and images, right? So you're going to get that if you're not careful. Whereas the other tools will try and keep the sections together. So much better printing experience. But yeah, it's free, but I would caution anyone who's trying to make a complicated document to have to think about how many hours it's going to take you compared to the cost of using a Word template. You can knock out pretty quickly. We do use them, like, don't get us wrong, we can knock them out pretty quick for a basic flat table. So they do have the place. If the business that you're banking for or your client isn't too worried about printing, just want to see on screen just nicely, then that's fine. But yeah, if you want to get complicated, use one of the paid services because it's going to save you heaps of time. Right. We should jump into a demo of that, I think, to show. Check what time, pretty good. Right. Here's my imaginary Power App. Whereas if I click the add row and stuff, I could add more rows, right? There's nothing in there, it's not going to submit with that. So imagine we had this thing where the top section was all about invoice information we had to fill out, and then we had tables of all the products I ordered, and then a subtotal, right? So to speed through that, because I didn't finish that, here's my invoice list, and I've got like an invoice products list as well. So I've got all my information preloaded. I've got some columns in here about my name and my Outlook address, right in the days for this particular instance, which is cool. And then we've got, let's do Adobe. So basically, see that on screen hopefully, but I can zoom in a little bit more for you. So when a file's created, I could put trigger conditions on this so it only runs, but this is a demo, so it's fine. So I'm going to go and get my first level list, then I'm going to go and get my products that are associated with it. So that's basically invoice items with a filter under it where I use a thing called parent ID and then equals the ID of the parent list. So when we submit that from the Power App, it makes ID 1, and then in the subsequent list, we get lots of little other ones, all with an ID 1 next to their main ID and in a column called parent ID. Then I do initialize a variable of an array type because I'm going to hold all my product items inside of my array. And then I should have named that properly, not applied to each two, but let's just ignore that. I'll get off the screen. Here we go. And then I'm going to append every item that defines that matches in my products to my variable. And so here, within Adobe, that's kind of important because you've got to get the right names for what you need to go into the repeating table section in your Adobe marked up document. So, and those are just basically from the value of the item, they'll go in. Then I'm going to get my file of my template or template file. So I'm going to go off and I'm going to find my invoice template. Then I'm going to get its metadata because I'm going to need that. I'm putting a date into this one, so I'm just doing a very basic last modified long date pattern just to show a date. If you use UTC now, it's going to come out as a long date string. You may not want that. So this is going to give us Monday, June the 15th, if we're in 2009. And then to generate the document, super easy, right? So it does give you the JSON information if you need to get to it, but you give it a name. You can put whatever name you want in there, or you can have a name you want to give it. And then all I'm doing is making sure I know about all of the sections in my document, and I'm putting the values into them based on what I've got. So I've got my array, which is my selected products, a cost one, my time, and then some of my company information. I've got other columns in my document where we do signatures, and we're going to use those later on in this. When we go down to this section, and then that's going to create a document, and then it's going to create the file in SharePoint. So using the Adobe action, it's going to put all the content into the template. Same with Word, it puts it into the template, but you still have to save the document into wherever you want it to be saved. So we're saving it into SharePoint, but I can put that somewhere else if I want to, with Dynamics or Dataverse or wherever, but that's that one. To show you the difference with Word, same start, exactly the same start, right? It's even got apply to each two in there, which is awesome. But then we have populate Word. So the difference here now is I don't need to use JSON, right? So it finds all the controls I've got. What I have found with the Word connector is if I've made an error in my document, and I have to resave my document, remake it, put it back in there. If I save it back over the same name as my original file, so if I did it template invoice for Word.docx, I don't know when those changes turn up in Power Automate, whether it's not instant. So if you're developing it and you want it to be testing and going for it, then you're probably going to want to call it template for invoice for Word 1 or 2, and then you can find it. It does remember all of that. If you've already selected all the actions or your areas that go into the file, they'll be remembered. But this bit here, yeah, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to refresh its cache. I guess you could turn off Power Automate, turn it back on again, it'll do it. But when you're in the zone, in your flow state, right, going for it, then it doesn't do it. It's frustrating. Basically, I've got here, so I could have my regular table of my products, right? So that's what you get by default. It'll look like that. But the thing is, we don't know how many products are going to be associated with this stuff, right? So what do we do? So the use an array is the easiest answer. Click there, drop in your array, and use your dynamic content. I've zoomed down to this. Well, that's all squishy. But there, so many bits. And then all the rest of the information goes into it, and then you do the same action at the end. So just the difference between the two things. To create them, the output's pretty straightforward. Same thing. I won't do the demo through this, but I'll just show you that. We'll do the demo for signing as well. So we'll make the file and send it. Jump back into the PowerPoint. Just looking at the time. Yep.
Mr. Steve, I must have missed you say it. So I understand with Word, we've got room, we use the developer tab and we add those fields.
Yep.
But for Adobe, where's the Adobe document? Did you create a Word document?
Yeah. So we've got this file, and then all the products are here with the little squiggles, and then that's just saved into SharePoint. And so as part of the actions, I'm doing get my file here. So that one and that one.
So that's where you earlier mentioned with the two curly brackets side by side.
Yeah, so I just mark up a document, put it into SharePoint, and then I've got to go and get that document, and then I just hold it in Power Automate, and then when I get to my Adobe action, the template name is where we're going to get that. So that's the name of the file.
And that's the Adobe add-on used for that, right?
Say again?
The Adobe add-on you can use to build that for you?
Yes. Yeah, so if I'm in Word, I think I've got Adobe section there. So if I want to do, there's another couple controls I can add in here, where I can just click stuff and it's going to pop out things on the right hand side, and I can just put in sections and do stuff. So or I can just go straight into my document and just put a table on there and then pop stuff in, which has got like a signature control, and away we go. If once you know the names of them, then it's pretty much the same every time. But yeah, so that's that. Back to the teaching. I've spoken about how that could look. I do have examples I can show you. I haven't got one teed up in this slide deck to present how that would look. But yeah, if anyone wants to see how that's done, I can show you, give you an example, how automate, but handle with care. The focus here is on using third-party connectors rather than rolling your own. Okay, let's jump in and back in. Okay, merging. Adobe PDF services and Plumster are pretty much the same thing when it comes to merging. Encodium is slightly different. Encodium will run it. You get free calls, not free. It's 50 free calls to Encodium per month. that doesn't mean 50 runs per month using that many encoding steps. So if I go and pull 50 documents, then I've used my 50 on one run, right? I do know there's 20 images, 20 files max per Adobe, just so you know. But again, so I can make the files and I can merge them, right? So I'm doing two things with the same connector, so I'm already saving cost on that. PlumCell will let you make documents as well. Do it, but if I go through the look of each one, showed you earlier, but when I'm merging files, I'm not always going to know how many files I'm going to merge, right? So it could be one, or there might be a use case where I always know I've got a contract and then we've got standard terms and conditions that we drop at the end of it, right? So I always know it's just with one file, don't have to worry about it. But in this scenario, so I could do that and I would just put my file name and the content. I need to go and get that file and figure it out as part of the previous step in the Power Automate. But if I'm running from, you've never used those, but it's just so you know, just leave it there. So if I'm doing as an array, the main thing to note for encoding, you're going to want to have the file name and the file content. File content being get file content in Power Automate. That's an action you can take, gets it. And the name is the file name with extension. When you get those informations, encoding runs great. However, which threw me quite a bit last night, PDF and PlumCell don't do it the same way. Do the same thing, but basically in the append to array variable, you don't do any markup in your array, even though it's an array variable in Power Automate. There's no squiggle before, squiggle after. You just say file content, and then if you actually go and look at the code of it, it is in a little mini array when it's file content anyway, so it's already captured, and it's exactly the same for the Adobe as well. That says body, but that's basically the same as file content. That one's just from the web. Once you've saved it once, it'll turn to body, and you won't see file content anymore. It's one of those Power Automate things. And yeah, same thing, it just sits in there, give the name of the file, and away you go. So in a Power Automate workflow, they look like. On this one I just decided to be silly and just do a parallel branch. So we'll make two files at the same time and they'll go head to head and see who's quicker. But basically in here, I'm just going to manually trigger this one. I'm going to initialize two different arrays because they've both got different content. And I'm going to go and get my files that I want to. Merging PDFs in Adobe, documentation says it wants to do PDFs. We can actually put a Word doc in, but I was messing with that last night and I ended up not working quite so great. So I just went back to PDFs. So in my actions here, and when I apply to each of the files, I'm getting all the file content. And then for the array for encoding, I just grab the name and then I do a condition if it's got a .pdf end. You could do that better. That's just me speed through. And then if it's got PDF in it, then I do the same bar Adobe and put the body in there, right? And then you got your actions either side, exactly the same, and then make the file. And that has a UTC date stamp in it, so you could test it, run it, and that'll take all the files. Didn't kill any chickens before this session, so I don't know how many of the demo guys are looking down this happily, but we'll see. Doesn't take too long. Is it sort of the right level what you guys need, or is it too much code or not enough code? Yeah,
Just right.
this is obviously the second of my 4 never-ending demos that I'll be presenting today. Yeah. So this is taking all the files now. So we've got 12 now, right? So there's 12 files in there. This one on the right should just be taking PDFs, merging them all in, and that one taking all 12, pushing them into the same document library. And away they go. So Adobe just won, but then it had a head start, right? So that's made item 286. I'll go into invoices. This is the library where I was working for, 286. Let's just do larger to smaller. So 287 has been made now as well. So you tap that, you wouldn't really know that which is only one file. That's great.
Pretty simple, right?
Was. Sorry, thanks. It's taking a bit longer to open, which is good. So that's a UTC date stamp at the bottom. Like, only got 5 minutes left. It is the second demo of 4. Yes. Anyway, imagine that opening and looking great. But we'll just move straight beyond that to get to document signing, because we need to do that. We need to do the demo at the end. Right. Rapid fire. I'll speak faster than Michael if I can.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So jump in document signing. I looked at Adobe Sign, DocuSign, and there is SharePoint coming as well as part of SharePoint Premium. From what we understand, you could run that on a per run basis. It might cost you $2 US a pop to get a signature. Versus we don't know what the cost of SharePoint Premium. You know the cost of SharePoint Premium?
Yeah,
no. But assume that level if you want to run it as an on. But again, weigh up how many people need it and compare the functionality you'll get. It will use syntax. It will use premium services, and so it could be a bigger cost than just using $30 for Adobe Sign. So weigh it up. Full disclosure, I'm doing both tools, Adobe and DocuSign, for 2 different clients. The journey on Adobe Sign has been way easier than the journey on DocuSign. Yes, the IT teams of both organizations have been all right, but we struggle with DocuSign because their functionality is just catching up with Adobe Sign in terms of not for the signatures itself. The signature piece is easy. The document creation piece you can do in DocuSign now as well, but that is another tier of licensing within DocuSign at the moment, even though it comes as standard with Adobe Sign. So the client's reviewing whether they're going to stick with DocuSign or not, because they've got to go up another pay scale. Even though they're an enterprise client with them, to get that add-in, it's going to cost them more. And is it worth it, or could we do it with Adobe? So can't demo you the Adobe DocuSign or DocuSign, but I'll go through Adobe. Yeah, watch this space for SharePoint. It may become a player, or the other tools may be already too far ahead, and it'll be in catch up forever. So similar thing for signatures for Adobe, double squiggles, and then but you do have a signature ES sign information in there, so basically then it knows that you're the actual signer of the document. You can have internal people, you can have different people assigned into a role. It can be an array of signers or individual listed people. So you can send it internally, then send it externally. If you're the end recipient of an Adobe Sign signature request, you don't need an Adobe license. You just get something to the web and you sign it. They will ask you if you want to sign up for an account as soon as you've done it, but you don't have to, right? But you can send that to anybody out there in the world to go and sign, which is great. You get an email, tells you what to do, opens up their portal, you sign, and sends it back to your information. At the end of signing back, there's actions in Power Automate that allow you to take further actions, right? So you know the document's done. It's either declined or it's signed. Signed, you can do something. You can push it into Teams. But there's a trigger that will run document status updated. Have a switch under that to say what did the document status be, and then take an action based on that. So you send it off. As a user, you get a request to say go and review and sign. You get your document, you can see what it is, and you'll get this click here. In the actual browser, there'll be like a little arrow pointing and get started. If you have done it with the bank, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then within the Power Automate workflow to actually make it happen, you're going to want to get the document's ID because it does need it there, unless you know it, but may not. So it's better just to have their pre-canned action, what's doc ID, and then do it. And then down here, you can add on your different types of recipients that are going to come in and just use e-sign. So you just want to get it. As an e-signer, when I click on the thing and open it, I get that pop up to sign, put in whatever I want, and using, put whatever you want in there, but it knows you're you to send to your account. And then when it's done, you get that, and then you get the option to create an account, right? But just get the sign done. And then as the people that sent the request, we get a message back with the file, hey, it's been signed, it's done, let's go have a look at it, and then we can take action. In Power Automate at the end, when it's done, when the state of an agreement changes, so if it has been approved, agreed, or signed, then I can do something with it. That's my switch statement. I didn't expand it. Basically, if it was approved, then I could do something and push into Teams and say, here's the action, Rich declined to sign the form, or Rich did approve it. And then I can send it off again, do other things with it. All right. We need to see a demo of it all. Still got time. Got 150 go with questions.
Is there a duration that you can see on the sign?
Great question. I think there is, but I haven't enabled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to sign things with a certain time period.
Yes. Because you can monitor in the actual send to signature, there isn't a control there, but on your workflow, you can be looking to say which active things have I sent out to be signed, and then schedule, check them, have they been signed today? Yes or no, and if they haven't, and it has, but how long has it been now since they did anything, and then take an action? Yeah. How I look at that one.
I actually raised the bylaw. I don't sign, it was Vision 5 fixed it, but I wasn't sure whether they can figure that, change that, was to increase the number of characters for the person's name.
Oh yeah.
But that's
In-
set up in Adobe itself, or is it in the?
I would think that might be more to do with the data source that the name might be going into to populate that, but
No, it's literally just the
In-
one
in-
signature
oh,
and
yeah.
characters.
ooh,
And sometimes people ask me on it.
yeah. Look. And that one, I'll do that one. So it's got an action at the end. So under my advanced options for send to signature, there's quite a lot. Actually, there is an expiration time, Steve. So yeah, we could run that. I'm not showing on the screen anymore. Isn't that good? What happened there? Can we still see on the team score? Right.
The TV.
Sorry, TV. So I've expanded the advanced permissions for all the items. There's an expiration time. And there's a reminder frequency. So if you haven't signed it, I can send reminders. There is nothing about the length of file things though. But I'd be interested to find out how they did that. And what was the issue there? But yeah, there may be some limits. Cool. Are there any questions online about anything you've seen? Check. Well, basically go back in here, go to summary. I do have a thank you slide. But in terms of, for me, third parties are okay. They're all right. Just use the tool, go and have a research, check them out, decide what you want. It, like all things, getting better. And it's got more of a head start on Copilot, so it's already better than Copilot. But Copilot will catch up. There might be document signatures in Copilot in the future, but yeah, they're there. And like the Adobe's come real good in the last 24 months. DocuSign's catching up now. I can send anyone a link to there's a DocuSign tutorial with showing what the latest functionality is. That's the one that needs the extra license, but it does show it's just as easy as what I just showed you in Adobe. Connected view type's good. Yeah, think about handcrafting your own stuff. It does have its place, but make sure you're not going to spend like 100 hours to do it when you could have done it in $15, right? It's your time still worth money. Definitely. I like using Adobe for signatures. I like using Encodium for merging because it kind of looks like an array and I don't think I'm missing anything. But I use Adobe Word and OneDrive to make all the documents that we make all the time, depending on the need, right? So having those skills is useful. I'm happy to talk anyone through how to do it if they need any help. Happy to show you. And just, yeah, but the biggest takeaway out of all this is just have a think about the cost. A lot of people get twitchy about cost for a third party, but that cost is a benefit to your business. And when it's $30 a month, that's pretty good cost. If it's $3,000 per month, then you've got to make sure you do a lot of documents. But you may be doing that many documents, so that could be worth it. But yeah, just have a think about that because it is business cases. And as we move into like SharePoint, Power Platform, like all good dealers, everything was kind of free at the start. And now there's costs for everything, so pretty much. So businesses need to accept that, yeah, they're getting a benefit from it, and that has costs.
And it's not a machine report.
No. 900 an hour.
Charge this first.
Yeah, just on set the charge. Yeah. All right, and then the mandatory thank you slide. Thanks Expert Logic for the lunch. We ate all of it. There's a few cookies left, but really appreciate it. And then thanks Microsoft for lanyards and DXC and Fusion 5. Any more questions? Online, nothing? Done.